They thought firing me would be the end of the story. What they didn't know was that I had already written the final chapter 20 years ago when I first walked onto that factory floor. My name is Matthew Walsh, and for 2 decades I was the backbone behind Hartwell Manufacturing's most critical operations. I built the relationships they all depended on. But when the new CEO arrived, he decided I didn't belong in his picture anymore. So, on a Tuesday morning in front of the entire management team, he made his move. I'm 47 years old, been with Hartwell since I was 27, started on the floor running a stamping press, worked nights to get my management degree, climbed every rung the hard way. My kids are 16 and 18, both looking at colleges that cost more than I made my first 5 years combined. My wife Sarah works part-time at the school district, good benefits but not enough to carry us if something happened to my job. 20 years of 6 a.m. starts, weekend calls, and making this place run smooth as clockwork. The thing about manufacturing is, it's all about relationships and timing. You can have the best equipment in the world, but if your steel doesn't show up on schedule or your freight costs double overnight, you're dead in the water. I knew every supplier personally, every seasonal pattern, every shortcut that kept us profitable when our competitors were struggling. Take Jim Morrison at Morrison & Sons Steel. I'd been dealing with his family for nearly 20 years, since before his old man retired. Started when Jim was just learning the business, same as me. His kids call me Uncle Matt. When steel prices spike or delivery trucks break down, Jim calls me direct at home, not some purchasing department. We've fished together, been to each other's family barbecues. That's not the kind of relationship you build with purchase orders and quarterly reviews. Same with Eddie Rodriguez at Rodriguez Logistics. Eddie's been hauling our finished goods since 2009, through the recession when half his competitors went under. We kept him busy. He kept our costs low. His daughter's quinceañera. I was there with Sarah and the kids. His wife makes the best tamales in 3 counties, sends me a batch every Christmas. These weren't just business contacts. They were friends who had my back because I'd proven myself reliable for decades. Every handshake deal, every favor during tight times, every priority delivery when we were up against impossible deadlines, it all built trust that no spreadsheet could capture. But Timothy Foster didn't see any of that when he took over as CEO 6 months ago. All he saw were line items and cost centers, fresh MBA from some consulting firm, talked a good game about operational efficiency and digital transformation. The board loved him because he promised to cut costs by 20% in the first year. The warning signs were there. The consulting team he brought in 3 months ago asking detailed questions about vendor relationships and contract terms. The talk about modernizing legacy processes and streamlining management structure. The way they looked at guys like me, experienced, expensive, old school. Timothy started bringing in his own people. Kevin Marshall, some hotshot kid with an industrial engineering degree, to handle vendor relations. Jessica Williams, a supervisor I'd mentored for years, suddenly getting promoted to operations manager, reporting directly to Timothy instead of through me. Jessica was the one that hurt the most. 5 years ago, she was struggling as a floor supervisor, didn't know a work order from a purchase order. I spent weekends teaching her production scheduling, walked her through every vendor relationship, showed her how to read the seasonal patterns that make or break our quarterly numbers. When her husband lost his job in 2019, I made sure she got overtime to cover their mortgage payments. Tuesday morning started normal until it didn't. At 9:15 a.m., I walked into the conference room carrying my quarterly efficiency report and a folder of vendor renewals I'd been working on all week. I'd spent Sunday afternoon going through the numbers, making sure we were locked in for the busy season coming up. The smell of coffee and morning tension filled the room. Timothy Foster sat at the head of the table like he owned the world. Sharp gray suit, red tie, that MBA smile that looks friendly but cuts like a knife. The whole management team was there. Jim Patterson from Quality Control, looking uncomfortable. Maria Santos from HR staring at her notebook. And Jessica, sitting 2 seats from Timothy, not meeting my eyes. "Matthew," Timothy said, folding his hands like he was about to announce the lottery numbers. "Let's keep this brief." I stopped halfway to my chair, folder still in hand. Something in his tone made my stomach tighten. He didn't let the silence breathe. "As of this moment, your position at Hartwell Manufacturing is being eliminated. Effective immediately." The words hit like a physical blow. No gasps from around the table, no protests, just that suffocating quiet you get when everyone knows something terrible is about to happen but hopes they're wrong. Eyes dropped to notebooks. Pens clicked nervously. Coffee cups went untouched. I scanned the room, looking for someone, anyone, with the backbone to look me in the eye. Jim Patterson was studying his shoes. Maria was pretending to take notes. And Jessica just stared at the table like it held the secrets of the universe. Timothy slid a manila envelope across the mahogany table like he was dealing cards in some high-stakes game. "You'll find your severance package outlined here. HR will handle your exit logistics by noon today." The envelope sat there between us. I didn't reach for it, didn't sit down. My pulse stayed steady because honestly this wasn't completely unexpected. I'd felt the shift in the wind. What they didn't understand was simple. You can fire a title, but you can't download 20 years of relationships and institutional knowledge into some computer system. I stepped forward, placed my security badge on the center of the table, and looked Timothy right in the eye. That smug expression didn't even flicker. 20 years of early mornings, missed family dinners, and weekend emergencies reduced to a manila envelope and a noon deadline. "Understood," I said simply. Then I walked past Jessica's downcast face, past Jim Patterson, who still wouldn't look up, past Maria Santos, who was suddenly very interested in her pen, and left the room without another word. The heavy door clicked shut behind me with a sound that felt final. Only when I was alone in that hallway did I start to smile. Not from happiness, but from certainty. The countdown had just begun. As I rode the elevator down that Tuesday morning, just minutes after my public humiliation, I didn't panic, didn't rush to call my lawyer or start updating my resume on my phone. I just pressed the button for the ground floor and took a deep breath. Because this wasn't panic time. This was patience time. The lobby felt different somehow. The security guard, old Pete, who'd been here almost as long as me, gave me a confused look when I handed him my badge. "Everything okay, Mr. Walsh?" "Just fine, Pete. Take care of yourself." I walked through those glass doors for what I thought might be the last time, feeling the cool October air hit my face. My Silverado was parked in the same spot I'd used for 12 years, Section A-7, right by the maintenance shed. Muscle memory guided me there while my mind processed what had just happened. The drive home was quiet. No radio, no phone calls, just me and 20 minutes of thinking time. Sarah would be home grading papers, probably wondering why I was back early. The kids wouldn't be home from school for another few hours. Good. I needed time to figure out how to explain this without scaring everyone. Our house sits on a quarter-acre lot in Millfield. Nothing fancy but solid. We bought it 12 years ago when things were going well and my position seemed secure. The mortgage has 8 more years on it. Tyler will be starting college in 2 years, Emma in 4. Sarah's teacher's salary covers groceries and utilities, but my paycheck covered everything else. I found Sarah in the kitchen, red pen in hand, stack of math tests spread across our oak table. She looked up when she heard the garage door close early, and I could see the worry lines forming around her eyes. "You're home early? Everything okay?" I sat down across from her, same spot where we'd shared coffee every morning for over a decade. The words felt heavy in my mouth. "They let me go today." Her face went pale. The red pen stopped moving. "What? Why?" "New management. Cost-cutting. Timothy Foster thinks he can run things more efficiently without people like me." Sarah set down the pen carefully, like it might explode. We'd been married 23 years. She knew when I was worried and when I was planning something. This time, she couldn't tell which. "What do we do?" she asked. "We wait," I said, "and we watch." That evening, I did what any sensible person would do. I called my brother Mike, who works in HR over at Precision Components, to get his advice on severance packages. I updated my resume for the first time in 15 years. I started a list of contacts at other manufacturing companies in the region. But mostly, I thought about what was coming, because I knew something Timothy Foster and his MBA consultants didn't. You can't run a 350-person manufacturing operation on spreadsheets and efficiency reports. You need relationships, institutional knowledge, and the kind of trust that takes decades to build. It started Thursday morning. Morrison & Sons was supposed to deliver 40 tons of grade A steel for our automotive parts division. It's a routine delivery, happens every Thursday like clockwork. Time to arrive at 7 a.m. so the day shift can start production right away. Kevin Marshall, Timothy's new golden boy, was handling vendor relations now. Fresh out of college, probably never set foot in a real factory before last month. At 9:30 a.m., the steel still hadn't arrived. I knew because Eddie Rodriguez called me. "Matt, you hear anything about Morrison's truck breaking down? Jim's been trying to reach somebody at Hartwell for 2 hours. I was in my garage organizing tools I might need for side jobs while I looked for work. I don't work there anymore, Eddie. Try the main number. Already did. Got transferred around for 20 minutes before some kid told me to call back later. Jim Morrison called 30 minutes after that. Matt, what's going on over there? Your new guy placed an order for next month, but the steel grade doesn't match what you usually order. Should I ship it anyway? Not my call anymore, Jim. You'll have to work with Kevin Marshall. Who's Kevin Marshall? New vendor relations manager. Jim was quiet for a moment. All right. Well, if you land somewhere else, give me a call. Always got good steel for guys who pay their bills on time. The steel finally arrived at 11:45 a.m., 4 hours and 45 minutes late. Production line sat idle while 47 workers waited around. That's roughly $3,200 in lost labor, not counting the overtime they'd have to pay to catch up on the day's quota. Small hiccup, really. These things happen, but it rippled through the whole day's schedule like dropping a stone in still water. Friday brought the hydraulic fluid crisis. Apex Industrial Supplies had been our hydraulic fluid vendor for 18 years. They know our machines, know exactly which grade we need for each piece of equipment. It's not complicated, but it's specific. Kevin Marshall, trying to streamline things, placed an order for generic industrial hydraulic fluid. Same stuff, he figured, probably cheaper. Apex shipped what he ordered, standard grade fluid that works fine for most applications but will seize up our older German pressing machines in about 6 hours. I always caught those things during my Monday morning vendor check-ins. Just a quick call to verify specs, delivery times, any potential issues. Kevin Marshall didn't know to make those calls. The first pressing machine seized up at 2:15 p.m. The second one went down an hour later. Cost them half a day fixing machines and another full day flushing the wrong fluid out of the hydraulic systems. Saturday morning, I was replacing the brake pads on Sarah's Honda when my phone buzzed. Text from Jessica. Matt, can we talk? I know you're mad, but we need help. Things are falling apart. I finished the brake job before I responded. I'm not mad, Jessica, just disappointed. You did what you thought you had to do. Can you at least give Kevin some guidance? He's in over his head. Kevin has an engineering degree and Timothy's full confidence. I'm sure he'll figure it out. She didn't text back. By Monday of week 2, the pattern was clear. Every vendor relationship I'd built over 20 years was starting to fray. Not because people were angry or trying to hurt Hartwell, because they didn't know these new people, didn't trust them, didn't have any reason to extend the same courtesies they'd given me. The real crisis was building, and I could see it coming like a freight train in the distance. Week 2 got interesting fast. Kevin Marshall decided he was going to renegotiate our freight rates with Eddie Rodriguez. Smart kid, probably figured he could save the company some money by getting competitive bids instead of relying on old relationships. Eddie called me Wednesday evening while I was helping Tyler with his calculus homework. Matt, your new guy wants to cut our rates by 15%, says he can get the same service cheaper elsewhere. I set down Tyler's textbook. What did you tell him? Gave him our standard commercial rate. Same price we quote everyone else. Our standard rate was 30% higher than the family friend discount Eddie had been giving us for over a decade. That discount was based on volume, reliability, and the fact that we'd kept Eddie's trucks busy during the 2009 recession when half his competitors went under. He didn't take it well, Eddie continued, started lecturing me about competitive pricing and market rates. Kid doesn't understand that relationships work both ways. Kevin Marshall probably saw it as Eddie trying to gouge the company. I saw it as Eddie being professional with people who didn't understand the value of loyalty. Thursday morning brought the call I'd been expecting. Jim Morrison. And he sounded frustrated. Matt, I need to ask you something straight. This Kevin Marshall character placed an order for 60 tons of steel, grade specifications I've never seen before. When I called to verify, he told me to just ship what's on the purchase order. I was in my kitchen drinking coffee and reading job listings online. What's the spec? Grade 414? Oh, chromium molybdenum. Industrial standard, but it's not what you guys normally use for your automotive parts. That needs 4340 nickel chromium molybdenum for the strength requirements. Kevin had ordered the wrong grade of steel. Simple mistake, probably trying to save money by going with a cheaper option. Problem was, the automotive parts we make for transmission housings need to meet specific strength standards. Use the wrong steel, and those parts will crack under stress. Should I call him back? Jim asked. Not my place to say anymore, Jim. Kevin's the vendor relations manager now. All right. But if those parts fail inspection, it's not on us. We delivered exactly what was ordered. The wrong steel arrived Friday morning. By Monday, quality control had flagged the entire production run. 3,000 transmission housing components that would have to be scrapped and remanufactured. That's roughly $85,000 in wasted materials and labor, not counting the overtime needed to remake the order. Jessica called me that afternoon. First time we'd actually talked since the firing. Matt, we've got problems. The Automotive Solutions account is threatening to cancel their contract. I was in my garage teaching Tyler how to gap spark plugs on the '68 Mustang we've been restoring together. Patient work, the kind that requires steady hands and attention to detail. What's the issue? I asked, though I could guess. Quality problems, delivery delays, cost overruns. They're saying we're not the reliable partner we used to be. Automotive Solutions had been our biggest client for 8 years. I'd personally managed that relationship since day one, flying out to Detroit twice a year to meet with their purchasing team, making sure we understood their seasonal demands and quality requirements. Maybe you should have Kevin talk to them. He's handling vendor relations now, right? Matt, don't be like this. We're talking about 150 jobs here if we lose this contract. I set down the spark plug tool and looked at Tyler, who was concentrating on getting the gap measurement exactly right. Jessica, I don't work there anymore. Remember? Timothy made that pretty clear when he had me escorted out. Come on, you know this isn't about you personally. It's business. You're right, it is business. And in business, you don't get to burn bridges and then ask the other guy to help you rebuild them. She hung up on me. The real crisis hit 2 weeks later. Automotive Solutions needed an emergency order for their new model launch. Rush job, impossible deadline, the kind of challenge that separates the reliable suppliers from the wannabes. The order was worth $340,000, with potential for ongoing monthly contracts if we delivered on time. In the old days, this would have been routine. I'd have called Jim Morrison personally, explained the situation, asked for priority delivery of the right steel grade. Jim would have bumped us to the front of the line because he knew we were good for it. Then I'd call Eddie Rodriguez, arrange overnight shipping to our biggest clients. Eddie would have charged us standard rates because he understood the long-term value of the relationship. Instead, Kevin Marshall sent formal purchase orders through normal channels. Jim Morrison, who didn't know this kid from Adam, put the order in the regular 7-day queue. Eddie Rodriguez quoted standard rush shipping rates, triple our usual cost, because Kevin hadn't bothered to explain the importance of the job or the history of our business relationship. When the steel finally arrived, it was the wrong grade again. Kevin had copied the specs from the previous order without checking the application. By the time quality control caught the error, we'd already missed the delivery deadline. Automotive Solutions was furious. 8 years of perfect reliability, blown because nobody thought to make a phone call or double-check a specification. They pulled the emergency order and started shopping for a new primary supplier. That's when the board started asking questions. Stock price dropped 18% in 6 weeks. Industry magazines began writing about operational challenges at Hartwell Manufacturing. Employees started updating their resumes. Timothy Foster called an emergency all-hands meeting, announced they were bringing in a crisis management team. Started talking about possible layoffs to cut costs and improve efficiency. The same guy who'd fired me to save money was now talking about firing more people because the savings never materialized. The beautiful irony wasn't lost on me. Timothy thought he could replace experience with youth, relationships with spreadsheets, institutional knowledge with fresh ideas. Instead, he'd learned the hardest lesson in business. Some things can't be downloaded, purchased, or optimized away. They'd fired the foundation and wondered why the building was shaking. That's when Nicholas Morgan stepped in. Nicholas owned 35% of Hartwell Manufacturing, the biggest single investor. Old school guy who understood manufacturing from the ground up, had started his own machine shop back in the 70s before getting into private equity. He'd been around when I helped turn the company profitable during the 2018 steel tariff crisis, when our competitors were struggling and we somehow managed to keep our costs stable. The emergency board meeting was called for a Friday afternoon. I wasn't there, obviously, but word travels fast in manufacturing circles. My old buddy Jim Patterson from Quality Control filled me in later over beers at Murphy's Tavern. Nicholas walked into that boardroom like a man with serious questions and not much patience for corporate doublespeak. Timothy Foster was at the head of the table, looking confident until Nicholas started talking. "Let me understand this," Nicholas said, opening a folder thick with financial reports. 6 months ago, we were profitable, had solid vendor relationships, and zero quality complaints from major clients. Today, we're hemorrhaging money. Our biggest client is shopping for a new supplier, and our stock price is in free fall. What changed? Timothy tried his usual MBA routine about market volatility and industry-wide challenges. Nicholas wasn't buying it. Our competitors aren't having these problems. Precision Components just landed 2 major contracts. Industrial Solutions is expanding their workforce. What makes us different? Silence around that table. The kind of uncomfortable quiet that happens when everyone knows the answer but nobody wants to say it out loud. Nicholas continued. Vendor costs are up 40%. Delivery times are double what they were 6 months ago. Quality complaints have tripled. And somehow, our operational efficiency is worse, despite all this talk about modernization. He pulled out another report. I've been making calls. Talked to Jim Morrison at Morrison & Sons. Talked to Eddie Rodriguez at Rodriguez Logistics. Interesting conversations. Timothy's confidence started cracking. Sir, I'm not sure vendor gossip is relevant to our strategic planning. Vendor gossip? Nicholas laughed, but it wasn't friendly. Jim Morrison told me his family has been doing business with Hartwell for nearly 20 years. Never had a problem until 6 months ago. Now he can't get anyone to return his calls when there's a specification question. Nicholas turned a page. Eddie Rodriguez said the same thing. Told me he used to have a direct line to someone here who understood his operation, knew how to work around weather delays and traffic problems. Now he deals with kids who lecture him about competitive pricing while ordering rush deliveries they can't afford. The room stayed quiet. Nicholas wasn't done. Both of them mentioned the same name, Matthew Walsh. Said he was the guy who made everything work smooth for 20 years. Built relationships, understood the business, knew how to solve problems before they became crises. Timothy tried to recover. Matthew's position was eliminated as part of our operational efficiency initiative. We have capable people handling those responsibilities now. Do we? Nicholas asked. Because from where I sit, eliminating Matthew's position eliminated our operational efficiency. He closed the folder with a snap that probably echoed through the whole room. Here's what I think happened. You fired the guy who built every vendor relationship we depend on. You replaced 20 years of institutional knowledge with fresh college graduates who think business runs on spreadsheets and PowerPoint presentations. Nicholas stood up. The result? We've lost more money in 6 months than we'd have paid Matthew's salary for 5 years. We've damaged relationships that took decades to build, and we're about to lose our biggest client because nobody here knows how to make a phone call and solve a problem. The vote was unanimous. Timothy Foster was out as CEO, effective immediately. The board voted to offer Nicholas the interim CEO position while they searched for a permanent replacement. His first act was to call me. I was in my garage Saturday morning helping Tyler install new brake pads on his truck when my phone rang. Matthew, this is Nicholas Morgan. We need to talk. I set down my wrench. I'm listening. I'm the new interim CEO at Hartwell. The board voted Timothy out yesterday. We want you back. Tyler looked up from the brake rotor he was cleaning. I held up a finger, stepped outside into the driveway. What are you offering? Operations director position, same as before. 25% salary increase. Full benefits restored immediately. Company vehicle. And I want you to personally rebuild every vendor relationship we've damaged over the past 6 months. What about the people who watched me get fired and said nothing? That's between you and them. I can't fix personal relationships, but I can give you the authority to fix business relationships. I looked back through the garage door at Tyler, who was learning patient, methodical work that would serve him well wherever life took him. I'll think about it. Matthew, I'll be straight with you. We're in trouble. Not just financial trouble, but reputation trouble. The kind that takes years to recover from. I need someone who knows this industry, knows our vendors, knows how to rebuild trust. When do you need an answer? Monday morning. Sunday evening, Sarah and I sat on our back porch watching the sunset. We talked through all the practical considerations. The salary increase would secure the kids' college funds. The company vehicle would save us a car payment. The restored benefits would give us better health coverage. But mostly, I was thinking about the 350 people who still worked at Hartwell. Good people who didn't deserve to lose their jobs because of corporate politics and management mistakes. Monday morning, I walked back into Hartwell Manufacturing. Same building, same smell of machine oil and coffee, same hum of production equipment. but everything felt different. People looked up when I walked past, nodded with respect instead of pity. Jessica was waiting by my old office. "Matt, I owe you an apology." I stopped, looked at her for a long moment. "You don't owe me anything, Jessica. You did what you thought you had to do to keep your job. I understand that, but I should have spoken up. Should have stood with you. Maybe. But that's done now. Question is, what are we going to do going forward?" My first call was to Jim Morrison. "Jim, it's Matthew Walsh. I'm back at Hartwell." "Well, I'll be damned. Good to hear from you, Matt. We've got some steel to deliver." Second call was Eddie Rodriguez. "Eddie, it's Matt. Ready to get back to work?" "About time, brother. I've got trucks sitting idle, waiting for someone who knows what they're doing." By the end of that first week back, steel deliveries were on schedule. Freight costs dropped 35%. Quality control stopped finding specification errors. Within 3 months, we'd rebuilt most of the damaged vendor relationships. 6 months later, Automotive Solutions renewed their contract and placed the biggest order in company history. Not because we had fancy new systems or brilliant MBA strategies, because relationships matter, because experience counts, because trust, once broken, can be rebuilt by people who understand its value. The kids got into good colleges. The mortgage gets paid on time. Sarah and I took that 25th anniversary vacation to Ireland we'd been planning for years. And every morning, I get to solve problems I understand with people I trust, using knowledge earned through 20 years of showing up and doing the work. Sometimes the best revenge is simply being irreplaceable. Sometimes patience pays off better than anger. And sometimes the guy they throw away turns out to be the one they can't live without. That's worth remembering, whether you're just starting out or wondering if your years of experience still mean something in a world that worships new and fast. They do. Trust me on that one.